I'll never forget the night I heard the story of King Adegun. My grandfather's voice was low, almost like a whisper, as if the walls had ears. He leaned closer to the fire, the orange flames lighting up his face, and he told me about the king who didn't just sell his people, he used them to test his guns. They say his spirit still walks the forest paths, looking for souls to trade. The spirits of those he betrayed are awake, they are watching, and they are waiting. Our village of Iale was a place of peace, surrounded by thick forests and guarded by tall iroko trees. People here worked hard and lived quietly, but the peace we knew vanished when King Adegun began his rule. No one really remembers when he changed, but everyone knows how he did. King Adegun was once like any other Oba. He led with kindness, and people respected him. But when he saw the wealth the foreign traders brought, his heart turned cold. At first, they came with simple gifts, beads, mirrors, fabrics. But soon, they started offering him guns. Guns that could tear through trees, pierce walls, and break bones in an instant. King Adegun was obsessed with these guns. The first time he held one, they say his eyes gleamed, and he became a different man. He wanted more guns, more power, more fear. And the traders, they didn't want gold, or food, or land. They wanted people. I was just a boy, but I remember the whispers. Soldiers in the night, women weeping, children disappearing. People would look over their shoulders as they walked through the village, never knowing who would be next. One day, my friend Sade's father, Barber Adair, was taken. He was a good man, a farmer with strong hands and a wide smile. I remember seeing Sade's mother running after him, screaming, grabbing at the soldiers' feet, begging them to leave her husband. But they didn't listen. They dragged him away while she clawed at the ground, her cries echoing through the village. After that, I started hearing stories of what happened to the people taken by King Adegun's soldiers. They were sold to the traders at the coast, packed onto big wooden boats, chained like animals. But the scariest part of the story, it was what King Adegun did to test his guns. The king had this twisted ritual. Whenever he got a new gun, he didn't trust it until he had tried it on a real person. He would order his guards to bring one of the prisoners, one of the people he was supposed to protect, and he'd have them stand in front of him. Then, he'd raise the gun, his hands steady, his face expressionless, and pull the trigger. The sound would crack through the night, sending chills down every spine in Iale. Some say he thought he was untouchable. Others say he was mad, cursed by the spirits of the people he betrayed. But either way, King Adegun continued his reign of terror. It didn't matter if you were a man, a woman, or a child. If his soldiers wanted you, they took you. One day, my grandfather's friend, a brave woman named Amina, couldn't bear it anymore. Amina had lost her husband and both of her sons to the king's men. She said the gods had spoken to her in a dream, told her to fight back. She knew the other kingdoms had heard whispers of what was happening in Iale, so she decided to do something dangerous. Under the cover of darkness, Amina traveled through the forests to the neighboring kingdoms. She told the other kings about Adegun's betrayal, about how he was tearing apart families and using his own people for blood sport. She warned them that if they didn't act, Adegun would only grow stronger, and he might even turn on them next. The kings were outraged. They gathered their warriors and prepared to confront King Adegun. But they had to be careful. Adegun had the foreign weapons, and they knew he wouldn't go down without a fight. On a dark, moonless night, the warriors crept through the forest and surrounded Iale. They moved quietly, like shadows, and waited for the right moment. When dawn broke, they launched their attack. Drums beat loudly, and the warriors chanted, calling upon the spirits for protection. It was like the whole forest came alive to see King Adegun brought down. When Adegun heard the commotion, he grabbed his gun and ran out, shouting at his soldiers. But this time, he was outnumbered. The warriors closed in on him, and he realized his reign of terror was over. He tried to escape into the forest, but they caught him. As he fell to his knees, the people he had wronged gathered around. They didn't touch him, though. They only watched as he was taken away. Some say they saw spirits among the crowd, ghostly figures of those he had killed or sold. The spirits watched, silent, as King Adegun was led away, powerless. After he was gone, ILA tried to move on. But we were never the same. People still talked in whispers, and no one went out after dark. They said King Adegun's spirits still roamed the forest, searching for more souls to trade. And sometimes, if you listen closely, you can hear gunshots in the distance.